Okay, gentlemen, you understand the rules you fight under. You listen to me at all times. You keep yourself protected. When I say stop, you stop. If you want to touch, do it now. Let's do it.
Woo. It all comes down to this. Tyron Woodley and Kamaru Usman. One man leaves Las Vegas, the undisputed UFC welterweight champion, and Kamaru Usman. Tonight's fight clock is brought to you by Modelo, brewed for those with a fighting spirit. Usman is in green, Tyron Woodley in the black and gold, befitting a champion.
Usman immediately moving forward, putting pressure on the champ, keeping an eye on that big right hand. Got to hold the single.
Straight to a guillotine attempt in Woodley.
Oh, he doesn't have guard. He doesn't have guard.
He's on the wrong side. Woodley needs to get his left hip to the mat. That guillotine's going to get a little tighter.
It's hard to see what he has under the chin. It looks like he's around the face.
I don't think he's under the chin. I think he's right across that jawline.
He doesn't have it at all anymore. He doesn't have his hands clasped together. But now Kamaru is on top.
So right now you got Woodley holding on to the chin, but it kind of burns the arm out when you just squeeze like that. So Usman's okay here. He knows he's safe, so he's just kind of softening it up. Woodley's looking for a space to get his hips out. He wants to get that right leg off the floor and get it out from underneath so he can wall walk, use the fence. So now he's got to get his left hand on the floor. Who's Woodley? Underneath the chin of Usman.
Usman keeping pressure on him. He wants to scoot his butt away from the cage. Stay on top of him.
You've got your wrist, Tyron, I can see.
Woodley complained to the referee that Usman was grabbing the glove. Mark Goddard said it was legal.
Now there, that bottom leg, the one that's on the mat, that's the one that matters to keep Woodley on the floor. And now that Woodley's got that knee on the floor, he can stand up. He's just trying to break the lock of Usman. First.
It's going to work, guys. Let's stay busy, please.
He's up.
Woodley came in with the highest takedown defense, 97.6% of any fighter in any division in UFC history. Wasn't necessarily taken down there by Usman.
Nice knee to the body by Usman.
This is the type of fight Usman wants.
Yes.
This fight gives him a great chance, and if he can keep it here, we'll go back and forth with Woodley.
Those are good knees to the body there by Usman.
Scheduled for 5 5-minute rounds to decide this UFC welterweight title. Just over 2 minutes here to go in round one.
Usman's always shifted a little bit off to the weak side of Woodley, as you see, just off the line of sight for that right hand. He's always shifted. See how he takes his head to the weak side every time. Back to the single.
Woodley, two-time Division I All-American wrestler and Big 12 champ at the University of Missouri. Usman, three-time D2 All-American, a national title his senior year at 174 pounds. Big right from Usman, yeah.
Nice knee to the body again. Usman's doing a fantastic job of closing the distance and getting a hold of Tyron and keeping Tyron up against the cage.
I like this plan for Usman because in the early rounds when Woodley's got the most power, the most strength to land it, and the best timing. So if you keep him in this wrestling, you take away a little bit of the power from the right, and you kind of take away some of the timing and the speed as well. So it just kind of makes it a little bit more even in the striking realm when they do separate, because Usman's being able to create these early transitions.
It's good body work here by Usman. Good right hands to the body, good knees. And we've seen that Usman can keep this up for 5 rounds, like we did with Dos Anjos.
And to be fair, Woodley likes this style of fight too. He's good at staying against the fence. He likes to let guys wear themselves out trying to take them down on the fence.
So Mark Goddard chooses to intervene there. Wasn't seeing enough action. Less than 40 seconds now to go in the round.
What Woodley's good at, he's good at touching you to get you to start reaching for his hands, and then he comes over the top when you start reaching with the right hand, and that's what we just saw a second ago. He's done that to everybody he's fought.
Usman continues to press forward, appeared to land there partially.
Again, more body work by Usman. He's really working that right hand of the body very well.
He goes to a knee tap, transitions, tries to switch to a double. Woodley does.
The former UFC interim welterweight champion, Colby Covington, most popular guy in the building, Joe.
he is quite a character.
Thomas there, Joe, in the corner of Tyron Woodley. They want more volume, more forward motion here in round 2.
Yeah, Dean was adamant that Tyron can't move back. He said, you've got to move forward. And Duke really wanted him to throw combinations. And Usman is back to the same strategy. Look at him, just relentless pressure, moving forward. And the thing about Usman, because the other thing that they were calling for was the leg kicks. The thing about Usman is he can do this all day.
Yep.
And it's one of his strengths. He has incredible cardio.
Might be the most conditioned welterweight on the roster with respect, of course, to the champion Woodley, but Usman using that jab, Dom, to get inside and working here in the clinch again.
He's also consistently working that body.
Yeah, he's closing the distance well by double jabbing his way in, but Woodley's, I agree with his coaches, he needs to move forward more because he's getting so far behind on the numbers and the octagon control. However, this is also Woodley's live by the sword, die by the sword tactic. He waits until you make one mistake, and then he's waiting for that right hand. And he only needs one opportunity to land it. So it goes both ways. Usman's making the right game plan, staying high on the numbers, staying high on the offense.
Oh, he hit Tyron with a big elbow.
Let's see what Woodley can do.
That was a big shot.
Woodley retreats, then he thought about a takedown, nothing doing.
Wow.
Usman's just out wrestling Woodley right now. From beginning to end of this match so far, he's been out wrestling him.
Full mount.
And
This
he
is
has
huge.
cut Tyron, excuse me, Joe, right by that right eye.
Woodley's just flat. Looks like he's a little bit static, just hanging out. He's waiting a little too long. He's not keeping the non-stop movement. And so Usman's just getting tighter and tighter and tighter with each movement. You can pay now or pay later.
Right.
We've seen Kamaru Usman have sensational performances. The question was always, how good is he when he fights the best of the best? We're finding out now. He's very good.
And even when he wasn't getting finishes, Joe, he's beaten guys 30 to 25 times 3. I mean, he has been dominant every step of the way in his UFC career.
And the question was always whether the champion...
And I think the reason why Usman's been so successful is exactly what Woodley's coach has said. He's waiting too much. So he's always a step behind Usman.
Oh, he's getting beat up. This is just a shockingly good performance by Kamaru Usman so far.
Under 2 minutes here to go in round 2. It has been all Kamaru Usman thus far. More than a round already of control time for the challenger.
Old school wrestling, they call this the honeymoon ride. You do the math.
Get out from under here.
What does he do, Joe?
Well, he's got to get his hands on the hips, pop his hips up, hip escape. But the problem is, every time he moves, he gets hit with shots.
I like to see Woodley get to a hip, push his elbows on the knees of Usman, then use your hands. But right now, staying flat on his back, it's not going to be pretty.
The thing is, every time he goes to move his hands, he's eating big elbows and punches. It's very difficult for him to move here, and this is because Usman's doing a fantastic job of controlling the offense in this position. Now Tyron's trying to sneak out the side, but Usman puts a stop to it. He's doing a great job of grapevining the legs as well. See how he's using his insteps and his shins to control Woodley's legs. Very difficult to get out of there.
And being annoying by trying to interrupt the breathing pattern, keeping his face open-handed on Tyron Woodley's mouth.
Yeah, this is hard without strikes. It's hard to move. Look at this. He's looking for an arm triangle.
Woodley doing the right thing with that back arch. He doesn't want Usman to get that elbow on the other side of his head, so he's keeping it straight and trying to block it. And Usman's trying to wear the body out so he can't stay in this back arch for too long. He's only got to wait 13 seconds. But if he lets his back flat, Usman, there it is, right there. He gets out.
But still,
dominant round.
Incredibly dominant. Look, and still does not get, tries to pop the hips, does not get anywhere with it. Amazing round for the challenger.
The incumbent Tyron Woodley would appear to have some work to do, getting all he can handle thus far from the plus 140 underdog, Kamaru Usman.
Well, he's lost the race so far, but it's a marathon, so he's still got another few rounds to see what can happen. A couple rounds, I should say.
He's got to keep his back away from the cage. And his corner desperately wants him to move forward. Kamaru ducks under that big right hand.
Look to see Tyron switch it to an uppercut.
I'd like to see Tyron go to that leg kick as well. There it is. He's got a thunderous leg kick. Those huge calves and all that power. Nice knee to the body by the champ. But again, Kamaru digging with that right hand to the body. I mean, he's working so hard on that. Look at that, constantly digging. I mean, they will sap your energy. He's so relentless with that. That is nasty stuff, folks.
So once again, early in the round, Woodley has been rendered defensive with his back up against the fence.
The length of Usman is causing a lot of problems, too. He's so long in that body lock, he can keep his hands locked and just stretch so far away, Usman, that the height is just an issue in this wrestling. These underhook transitions are tough to deal with the taller men.
19 body strikes landed in that recent exchange. 82 already for the Nigerian Nightmare Kamaru Usman.
Again, just digging to the body, the same spot over and over and over again. And this will absolutely pay dividends in the later round. Woodley.
Mark Goddard pretty quick with the trigger there to pull the fighters back to the center.
If there was a punishment index in this fight, you would see that Kamaru Usman has dished out so much more punishment so far. With all the ground and pound in the second round, all these vicious body shots and knees to the body in the clinch. I mean, it's just a dominant performance for the challenger so far.
Complete control by Usman right now.
I think you're onto something. We need like a damage index.
Yeah. Oh, again.
Nice punching on the brakes. And now he's continuing to make adjustments, Usman. He's wrestling, breaking, punching, going back and forth. And Woodley, the problem is he's backing up and he's not throwing combinations. He's looking for one big knockout punch and he's not piecing combinations together, so he's not getting the respect to the striking from Usman. So Usman's able to link together combinations and then get to the wrestling.
And it seems like he's looking for openings that do not present themselves.
Well, he's looking for the knockout punch. That one big special punch to land instead of setting it up and just staying working, staying offensive in order to set up the big punch. He's just looking for one.
And you wonder how much those body shots will start to take their toll if and when we get to those championship rounds. Less than 2 minutes now to go round 3.
I mean, this is a horrific number of